Ex came clean after 10 years and it is making me lose sanity. Flashback 10 years ago. I was in a long-term relationship, 5 years, with a girl from college, knew her since school, and we were going to get married. 10 days before the marriage she told me over text that she started liking someone else but was sure that she still loves me and wants to marry me. I rush over to her place talk about this and to try to assess the situation. Came to know she was talking about a guy the first knew through her. I asked her if she is sure to move forward with the marriage and she said yes. So I asked to stop talking to the guy and continue with the plans. Couple of days later found out she was still talking to him and so had an argument with her on why didn't she stop and that if she is serious she should now stop. She goes to her parents' place for the shopping and next day I get a call from her friend that she has tried committing suicide because she doesn't love me but loves the other guy. I ask her to let me talk to her but she doesn't let me. At this time I'm freaking out so I start calling her siblings and no one can locate her. Panicking I call her father and tell him what's going on. Long story short, there were arguments from both families and eventually the marriage called off. So there I was about to marry the love of my life, my best friend one day and the next lost it all. I don't remember how many times I asked her why she was doing this and she couldn't answer me. It was a tough situation for me, got severely depressed, thought about ending my life and was struggling to do everyday tasks. She got married to the other guy within couple of months but was still calling me every now and then. I stopped talking to her shortly after her marriage, changed my number, job and city to just get some peace. It took me 5 years to get out of the situation and date someone else. Finally got married a year later. Current day. 10 years since the incident. The ex kept tried to call me over email every now and then I would respond rarely saying everything is fine and wishing her the best. Last year she again reached out saying I was her best friend and she'd like us to resume whatever little talks we can. I had forgiven her but decided to only talk very briefly. Recently she called me and said she wanted to give a real reason for why everything happened the way it happened. Apparently she had a one-night stand with this guy while she was still with me and got pregnant. But still insists that she didn't love or fancy him when this happened. All these years she kept telling me that she had to get married to him due to some conditions but I being the stupid trusting guy never got around thinking this might be the case. I lost it when she told me this and told her how much she has hurt me and I don't want to talk to her ever again. I am losing my mind thinking about this and all the lies and struggle I had to endure during these years. She was the one for me and it really took a lot of time to get back on my feet over these years. I honestly don't know how to cope with it now. All the old memories keep coming rushing every time I think about it and I feel so disgusted about what she did, at times I feel incapacitated. I've taken an appointment for next week to see a professional for this. First counseling session of my life. Hopefully that steers me in the right direction. 2 Yes, my wife knows about this from the get-go. She knew how bad it was and has supported me and encouraged me for counseling. She knows that I was talking to X and Y. 3 The phrases I used for my ex are what I felt 10 years ago. It's clearly not what I feel today. Why does she have this kind of power over you 10 years later? At a certain point it's not really about her anymore. It sounds like you never truly moved on with your life. The health of your current marriage may eventually depend on you processing your emotions in a healthier way than this. So start dealing with your demons. Aren't you lucky you weren't put on the birth certificate? She's a piece of shit. And you learned a lesson on why you don't stay in contact with exes. She's not part of your life anymore. It's okay to grieve but just remember she's just a stranger to you, and a shitty person at that. She has no impact on your life, so just keep living it. Block her on everything, dude. Stop being a chump and keep her out of your life for good. This girl is a poss, and she ain't worth living in your head. Besides, where is your wife in all this? I agree, always tried that, keep in contact with your ex, it's okay, mindset, but always ended up with egg in my face. She's definitely a stranger now, op. Please focus on you and your wife. This woman is poison. Sorry, op. But are you speaking to a therapist? Your fiancé dumped you weekend before marriage for someone else. How in God's name did you not click that she was cheating on you? Surely that's obvious. How did it take you 5 years to get over a breakup? And why do you care 10 years later? I'm asking in this way as I've been through this long. Why does all of this even matter? That hoe is irrelevant and so is her situation from 10 years back. Who the hell gives a fuck? You shouldn't. Shitty people don't deserve your time or energy, and after all that effort to move cities and changing your job and phone number, how does she have your phone contact again? Focus on the good things such as your wife. The ex is probably having a crap life and getting karma, so she feels the need to interfere in yours. How to present an extravagant piece of jewelry. I've bought my wife an extravagant necklace. She's wanted this for years and I've wanted to buy it for her for years. I'm trying to think of some way to present this to her in keeping with how significant a gift it is. Clearly, just dumping it on the kitchen table is not enough, but I also don't have the SFX budget to take her to a romantic beach where the last ray of light from the sunset illuminates a vine with golden light that turns to real gold and becomes the necklace. Any suggestions as to how I can make the gift giving as special as the gift? The last thing I want is for the gift itself to be tarnished with the memory of a lousy handover. When my husband bought my eternity ring, he got several boxes, wrapped the ring and put it in the smallest box. He then wrapped that box and put it in a slightly bigger box, wrapping that one and putting that box in a bigger box. There were about 8 layers of wrapped boxes. In between each layer he put little gifts that meant something to us as a couple. Our favorite sweets, beer mats from the pub we went on our first date, a love letter, cut-out hearts, silk roses, lots of tiny cute things. It's been 35 years and I still remember the joy and surprise of opening those boxes to finally find the ring. So my husband knew I wanted a pair of diamond studs for a long time. He bought a pair for me, and while I was getting ready for a date and he came into the bathroom and said, "Here, wear these tonight, they'll look great with your outfit," and handed me the box with the earrings. It was the sweetest surprise and completely caught me off guard in a good way because I was doing something so ordinary. I love it when my husband catches me off guard with sweet gestures during otherwise everyday moments. Smiling face. Just take her out to a nice restaurant, followed by a romp in a hotel, and put it on her while she is looking in the mirror. I know I'm nosy cause I low-key wanna see what this necklace looks like, lol. Breakfast or whatever is bed. Walk in with a covered dish. When she open it, it's the necklace. Say, "I remember X years ago you mentioned this. We didn't have the funds but I've never forgotten. I love you." Reference the number years together roughly since she first brought up the necklace by going somewhere you haven't been since or doing something you did a lot together then. It isn't just the necklace that is special but the time. How about a picnic? You can get flowers and present that along with the jewelry. You could also make a scrapbook of all of your favorite memories together and go through that together, and on the last page, you can have a picture of the necklace and then bring that out. You could tie up some rope across the bedroom and use pegs to place pictures on the rope, and when she wakes up, comes into the room, she sees that and you can present her with the necklace. You could make her a favorite dish that she likes, and for dessert you could present the necklace. You could do a treasure hunt and use memorable pictures with a hint, cute note on the back for the clues which lead to the necklace. Are you guys going out or doing a dinner at home? When she's dressing up, just say you have something that would look nice with that, and put it on her. My husband did that once with this vintage stuff I collect. I love old costume jewelry, especially listener stuff. We were having a picnic outside for my birthday and he was like, "Oh, you should put on this," and just clasped on a pretty piece I didn't have. It was pretty smooth. I, 34 male, a widower, got caught by my daughter, 18 female, the morning after sleeping with my date. My daughter won't talk to me. And I don't know what to do. Her mom and I were high school sweethearts and had her young. We lost my wife over 2 years ago to cancer. Ever since it's been me and her. We have both gone to therapy since it happened to cope with the grief. I was especially destroyed by it. She was the love of my life. When I met my coworker, Maya, I didn't expect to develop feelings. For the past 4 months we've worked together. I just did. She knows about my history with my wife. And she's been pretty respectful about it. Finally, over a month ago I asked her out on a date. She said yes. I didn't tell my daughter about any of this because I wasn't ready to admit to her that I'm interested in someone else. Figured to date a while, and if I felt it was really gonna go somewhere, then find the right time to tell her. This weekend my daughter was gonna be with her best friend's family to celebrate her birthday at their lake house. She was meant to stay there until Monday morning. The lake was a 2-hour drive away, so thinking that I'd be free, Maya and I went out on our third date. At the end of it we got pretty caught up in the kissing. We just wanted to be together. And my place was the closest. We had sex last night and fell asleep. My daughter showed up way sooner than expected. Her work asked her to cover a shift on Monday, so she decided to drive back early before Sunday traffic hit. She found us asleep together and lost her shit. When we talked after Maya left, she accused me of not giving a shit about my wife, and she's disgusted I'd move on so easily. I know what she's saying is coming from her grief. I tried getting through to her. She didn't want to hear it though. All day today she's been ignoring me. This is killing me. I can't lose my daughter too, and I don't know what to do to make this situation better. What can I do for her to make this easier? This isn't how I wanted her to find out about this. Your daughter had a shock. I suggest going to some counseling to help figure out how to talk about this. It's not like you are trying to replace her mom. You are young enough to want another relationship. Finding a way for your daughter to understand this may take time. Sorry for the loss of your wife. Your daughter is upset, and that makes sense. It's probably brought up a lot of terrible feelings. It may be helpful to reach back out to your counselor and see if you and your daughter could have a group session to process this. I don't think you will lose your daughter, but it may take some time for her to come around. Nothing to do but give her space. She's grieving the loss of her mom, and seeing you with another woman was bound to bring up some emotions. Don't take her comments to heart. Moving on does not mean the past is forgotten. This was an unforeseen consequence. I get why you hesitated to tell her about this woman, but you really should have reconsidered in retrospect. She'll come back. When she does, make sure to respect her feelings and emotions on the matter. People move on at different speeds, some take years, others less so. She's young and in grief. The best you can do is back off until she's ready to talk. I'm sure she was super shocked to find you in bed with someone when she had no idea you were dating anyone. To be honest, that was pretty irresponsible of you to bring someone home to sleep with that your daughter who lives with you has no idea about. I can't imagine you encourage her to jump in bed with someone after just 3 dates, so to her it's probably hypocritical and she feels lied to. That said, 2 years is a socially acceptable amount of time to start dating again. From here forward you need to be transparent with her. Don't be surprised if she doesn't warm up to this new gal though. Her introduction kinda ruined that. You knew this would be a difficult conversation, which is why you avoided having it. It's understandable, but it would have been better than this. Give your daughter some time. The shock of finding another woman in the family home will likely have played into her reaction. The timing too. 18 is a big birthday and she will have been missing her mum already. I feel like this was a conversation you should have had with your daughter before bringing a date into your shared home. She's probably upset that she had to find out this way, and it seems like you are hiding things from her. Repent and ask for forgiveness. Not because you are dating, but because you were not open and forthcoming. Sigh, she thinks you're replacing her mom too soon. And to see another woman in her family home maybe was too much ATM. Give her time, I guess, or therapy. I don't have any advice, but I had this when I was 14. My parents split up, hideous divorce, and my dad ended up living in a caravan. I felt bad for him, so I decided to walk all the way over to surprise him, just a few months after they split. Opened the door to him and another woman. Because I couldn't really go anywhere, I ended up staying and talking to them, but I was upset to say the least. My dad has since moved on with several other women in the last 12 years and is now planning to marry one soon. I'm 26 and it still hurts a little bit. It's probably never gonna stop hurting for your daughter, but she will eventually learn to understand the situation and move maturely forward once she's a little older. My 42 male son, 20 male, wants me to adopt his baby and is threatening to be a deadbeat if I don't. I'm not sure where to start with this. My wife and I have 5 sons ranging from ages 24–10. We were very young when we had our oldest, yes, and just recently found out my wife is pregnant again. When we announced this, my second oldest son, 20 male who lives independently but nearby, had an extremely angry reaction, and when I spoke to him later I found out he had gotten a girl pregnant and wanted me and my wife to adopt the baby. The baby's mother, his ex-girlfriend, is not on board with that idea and he had been trying to persuade her. That was nearly 2 weeks ago now and I'm at a loss for how to deal with this situation. I realize my son is scared of the situation he is in and wants help. I have tried to reassure him that I'm with him and, to the best of my ability, willing to help him with whatever he feels he can't handle: money, babysitting, advice, anything. I thought that once he realized it would be okay, he would step up and accept responsibility to raise his own child. However, he is adamant that he doesn't want anything to do with this baby and insists he will do nothing besides pay the bare minimum of child support if we don't adopt it. Not even taking account the difficulty it would be for me and my wife to have 2 babies in the household as well as our other children, I am uncomfortable with the idea of adopting the baby for several reasons. First of all, because the baby's mother doesn't want to give it up, not even to us. She had apparently been considering it when she thought she'd get no support from my son, and it was her only chance to be in the baby's life and still give the baby a decent life. However, after I spoke to her personally, my son had apparently been trying to tell his ex-girlfriend that my wife and I would definitely be willing to adopt the baby before he had even said a word to us about the situation, and assured her I would be a support system for my grandchild no matter what. She seemed relieved to the point of tears and immediately said she didn't want to give up her child. At this point, even if she could be persuaded to do so without me threatening to withdraw support otherwise, which I of course would not do, it would always feel like we had taken her baby under duress. On top of that, I'm uncomfortable with the idea of letting my son get out of his responsibilities as a father by taking over them for him. I raised him better than that. I'm simply unsure of how to handle this situation, how to guide my son and help my grandchild in the best way for everyone. Part of my difficulty with it is that my own childhood situation is making me biased in several ways. I've been the unwanted child before when I was little. My single mother raised me and my biological father dropped by for occasional visits. When my mom died, my dad got custody he did not want and essentially passed the chore of raising me onto as many other people as he could, interacting with me as little as possible. It was an incredibly lonely childhood, and that rejection still hurts. I don't want my granddaughter to have to go through that same painful process of realizing her father doesn't want her, which I know she will if my son doesn't change my mind about wanting a relationship with her and it's forced. However, even if a relationship isn't forced, she's going to wonder why her father isn't in her life and learn that she's unwanted either way, and I don't think it's possible for that to not be hurtful. I also can't relate because I've also been the young person who accidentally got a girl pregnant when I wasn't ready. Unlike my son, my wife and I weren't in a stable position, financially or otherwise, when we had our oldest, but we were in love and, once I was able to wrap my head around the situation, happy about it. I suppose it's because I had such a sad childhood that I was happy to finally have my own family. However, my son has had a loving family his whole life and right now what he wants is independence. I can sympathize with that, but it's still upsetting for me to think he would abandon his own child. It's hard for me to accept that he would do something so heartless, and I keep hoping that he will change his mind of his own volition, but I think I need to prepare for the worst-case scenario that he doesn't. I'd appreciate any other perspectives about how to handle this issue. I don't think you can stop your son from being a deadbeat. However, the court will make him pay child support. You also can't really adopt the baby because his mom really wants to keep him. Really all you can do is be the best grandparent you can be. Now that your son is an adult, you can't make him do anything. Hopefully he's just in shock and he'll come around. You can't force your son to be a good father. You shouldn't think that any path you take will result in him being a better or worse father. It's very unlikely to matter, so don't make any decisions based on that reasoning. It sounds like he's giving you every reason to expect he'll be uninvolved, so assume that's the case and you can be happily surprised if he proves you wrong. It seems clear to me that the correct path for you is to make sure the mother knows that you want to help with the child and be part of its life to the extent you are able, whether your son chooses to participate or not. Like I said, don't make his choices or his attempt to manipulate you a factor in making your own choices. 1. Stop talking about adoption. Baby's mother doesn't want to give up, that's it. 2. Get a DNA test for the baby before birth, it's available. 3. Get your son to sign birth certificate when DNA test comes positive and help her pursue child support. 4. Don't let your deadbeat son go without consequences. If he is willing to abandon his baby, then I hope you distance yourself from him quite a bit. 5. Help the baby's mother with occasional babysitting, bonding experience. 6. Stop trying to justify your son's actions because enjoying independence at his age is not something he earned. He earned a baby at this age, but he is becoming a deadbeat at his own choice. Hard stop. Your son has been trying to persuade a girl to give birth to a baby for you to raise. Your son is a privileged little parasite and you need to face the facts. You raised a piece of shit deadbeat. Let him learn on his own. Cut contact. You've already done enough damage for that stupid and disgusting of an mentality to exist in this world. He's old enough to know to wrap it. Stick a dick in it, let loose, risk a baby. He doesn't need coddling. He needs to step up. If not, if he wants to be a deadbeat, well, I guess you'll miss him at family functions and holidays, but you want to be in your grandchild's life. Baby can't support itself, and being a sole parent is hard. A single 20-year-old can support himself. Sounds like you have been too soft on your son. You mentioned that you raised him better, but if that was true, he would be better. He needs some tough love. Protect your granddaughter as best you can, but the mother and your son are the parents. They need to handle it, the same way you handle your life. Your son thinks he has an option to be a bad father without consequences. He needs to know what they will be. Even from your family. Please teach your younger sons the importance of wearing a condom and not, accidentally, bringing a new life into this world that is unwanted. Don't support bullshit from your son. You will just be encouraging him to keep being a poss. Being an adult is about making choices, accepting the consequences of his choices and carry them. Throw him to the streets if keeps threatening you. You are his father man.